Good evening, you guys. Day 3 in my rebellious reality. I'm drinking tea. The YouTube saga continues because what ended up happening was when I enabled live streaming, I apparently created like a sister account to my Rebellious Nurse YouTube. And now it's confusing. So I'm still dealing with YouTube drama, only coming in live from Facebook today. I just finished doing some breath work and just somatic work going into my body. There's been so many memories coming up lately. So many memories of... Hey, Bri. Thank you for coming on. So many memories, like the 8th was a year, not a year, was, when was it? 12 years since I got out of the military. And it was 11 years since my wedding anniversary to my ex that day. And then these Hawaii memories have been coming up. I woke up in Hawaii a year ago. Oh my gosh, 5 years ago. And I fell asleep here. So, and I had a really long day, and I put all of it in my stories today about how I didn't even realize, that's the beauty of kind of documenting your life on social media, because you can go and reflect on the memories, which is something that I have been doing. I've been getting in the habit of doing that. And just seeing where you were however many years ago and who you were, And so this day 5 years ago, I woke up, went on a hike to up to this World War II abandoned and beautifully spray painted pillbox or bunker. I got to see an amazing view. Then I went and got breakfast at this eclectic cafe. This was in the town of, I don't think I'm going to pronounce it right, Haleiwa. It was on the North Shore of Oahu. I only went to Hawaii for 4 days or something like that. And the shit that I crammed into those 4 days is like I had a full vacation. So I went to this cute eclectic cafe, and then I had to leave my Airbnb. I went and got lunch at this shrimp truck that had amazing, food. And then I went and I skydived for the first and only time, totally by myself. The whole vacation was out of my comfort zone. Just to go on a solo vacation was out of my comfort zone. And then I broke through so many barriers of fear along the way. And, I had a Marine Corps tandem jumper. I jumped out of a plane with the most amazing view that I've ever seen to this day. And then I went and I got a custom tattoo that I got to design with this tattoo artist the day before on my foot that said Aloha, so I would never forget the trip. And then I went and got on a plane to go home. And, when I was just doing breath work before this, I had all of these emotions come up and these memories kind of all come up again. And another memory that came up recently, a couple days ago, somebody that I know had gone to Arizona, and they were showing me pictures of this pig that they saw in Arizona. And so then I'm on Instagram again today, and I see a pig. And so that to me takes me back to my early 20s. And I worked at an animal sanctuary, and I was an outdoor kind of like groundskeeper and animal caretaker. And for like 6 months, I literally took care of like retired New York City carriage horses, chickens, sheep, goats, dogs, pigs, birds. I don't even like bulls. I almost got run over by a bull. What else? Geese. Like all these different farm animals, and I would just shovel their shit and clean their cages and feed them and give them baths. And the pigs were just like, I am such a disgusting, if you will, like if you're not into animals, like I'm a disgusting animal lover. Like it'll make you sick. But oh my gosh, these pigs were so horrendous, and they were just so whiny. Like like an hour before feeding time, I'd be like on the property doing whatever, and they would just start like going crazy, and they were just so filthy. And I have this really ridiculous pig story. I don't know if this solidified my just like my I don't know the right word, my distaste for pigs or whatever, but I have the best pig story. Hold on. So the lady who was in charge of this animal sanctuary, she was a little loon. And bless her heart, I know she went through a lot in her life, and she was like, you know, an animal lover, and she saved all these animals. She developed the sanctuary, but she was a little out there. So her first rescued animal was this pig named Robert. Okay. Robert had his own private house. The other pigs had to share houses and pools, and you know, you have the kiddie pools that they bathe in that I would clean. But Robert had his own special pad, his own special bachelor's pad. And so I was in there, and she had him since he was like a little piglet. But the thing is freaking massive when I was working there. So I have to clean Robert's shit one day, his situation. So I go in, and I'm like, I don't know, doing his pool, whatever I had to do. And this SOB... takes his fat freaking head, and he like, how did he do it? He like swings it into my knee. He had under his gums like a tusk, you know? So he literally punctures my knee. Now this was not like a huge puncture. This was like a little baby puncture, not a baby, I don't know, like the size of my pinky nail maybe puncture. But it was freaking violating. And I didn't like it, obviously. A pig just fucking punctured my knee with its tooth, and I'm trying to just do my job, right? So I go to Sarah, this lady, and I'm like, Sarah, Robert hit me with his tooth. And she looks at me. I'm bleeding. I have a fucking war wound. And she's like, he would never do that. It's just like, but he did. Like, I'm not making it up, you know? So that's my fun and disgusting pig story and the story about pigs. But the whole, to wrap this up into a little bow, and thank you so much for listening, whoever watches this. Oh my gosh, I just saw your comment, Brian, making pork chops. That's great. That's so great. Maybe it's one of Robert's ancestors or like bloodline. Oh my gosh. So, okay. So basically what I like, the moral of this whole thing, and like me just doing this session and having like all these memories like conglomerate is, I've had such a full life, I feel. When I look back at all the things that I did, And I always follow my intuition, even where I sit today. I am doing something that many people would consider absolutely insane. I have this degree, this lucrative degree, that I could be reaping the benefits of, right? And my soul said, fuck no, you will die if you stay here. And I listened. And when it came to going to Hawaii, I was remembering how I was dating a guy at the time, on and off. We had decided during this time frame that I went to Hawaii that we were going to go on a vacation together. And hey, Amina, girl, long time no see. So we decided we were going to go on this vacation together. And the time's coming up. We didn't decide where we were going to go. And I'm not hearing from him. I know he's busy with his life. That's fine. He was going to like some intense college program and I was working. But I'm not hearing from him, and I'm getting this call. I'm getting this legit soul call. Like a couple times Hawaii had been mentioned. I had always wanted to go to Hawaii. I knew a girl who was going on a solo trip, or who had gone on a solo trip and told me how good it was. And it was like all these things were coming up, and I was feeling so called to go on a trip alone. But I had this, loose, tentative obligation to go on this trip with this guy. And so I reached out to him like, hey, do you know where you want to go, whatever. And it was like I said, it was like approaching, and he never got back to me. And so one night I was working, I was a bedside nurse at the time, I was working overnight, and I got like the last clue that I needed. And I came home that day and I booked my flight and I booked my Airbnbs. And I told him a couple days later, and he was pissed, and he broke up with me when I got home from Hawaii. We had broken up a bunch, but he was pissed. And looking back now, the relationship didn't last, but I did what I felt called to do. And I had like I was saying, I broke through so many layers of fear in that trip. I had these memories that will go on forever. And I came out of my breathwork session after having the conglomeration of all these memories and like parts of my life, very different parts of my life coming together. I always listen. It's still an active process to my callings, to my inner knowings that are many times completely irrational, not logical in any way. And I think that's why I can sit here at the age of 39 and think to myself, man, I had such a full life already, and God forbid something happened to me, I would feel, aside from having a little precious baby in here and wanting to be here for the baby, if we negate that from the situation right now, I feel like I would die like complete. I would die knowing like I did the best that I could. I went all out. But yeah. And another thing I wanted to say, I'm going to leave off with, I was listening to this podcast yesterday, I think, and it had this really, really beautiful perspective. And the perspective was, one of the women, the interviewer, was like, yeah, something about, live like we're dying, because we are every day, more and more and more. And none of us know when the last day is going to be, or the last second, the last breath, And this other woman said that, Jimmy, the person being interviewed said that she was like, yeah, she goes, I feel like if you live like you're dying, there's almost like a numbness to it. And she said other things, but I can't remember what. And she said, the way that I live is living like I'm waking up every day And I just found out that I'm not going to die that day. Like she talked about this memory from the summer where she had a concussion, this interviewee, and she wasn't sure if her life was ever going to recover from it, and her business and all this stuff. And she said she essentially like channeled a 90-something-year-old dying woman, like who she would be on her deathbed. Like she said she literally let that energy come into her and like wanted and intended to get wisdom from it. And the wisdom that she came out of it with was, instead of living like we're dying, let's wake up every day and like somebody told us that we're actually going to live. Like we were dying, but now we're going to live. So I will leave you with that. There were 4 people on here at one point, and I only saw 3 different names. So the 4th person, I didn't greet you, and it's because I didn't see your name. But I appreciate everyone for watching. And Jim, I just can't get my ass on Snapchat, dude. I just can't do it. It's like, I just wish we could communicate through Instagram. I feel, I almost think about it every day. I'm like, I really have to get into Snapchat and check Jim's messages. And you probably hate me and think that I hate you, but I don't. I love you so much. All right. Brian, I may be going to eat Robert's grandchild. Enjoy. And for those of you who don't know, the reason, I'm going to try and say this right. Okay, cool, Jimmy. So pork, what I found out about pork and why other cultures don't eat it, some other cultures, is because it doesn't excrete waste. Like it doesn't sweat. And that's why pigs have to bathe in like, or cover themselves in mud and like whatever. So because it doesn't, like sweating, when we sweat, we're detoxifying. Like getting in a sauna is very detoxifying because you're sweating. And then of course, you know, all the excretions are additionally us, whatever, detoxifying. So pigs do not sweat, so they do not detoxify in that way. So a lot of toxins stay in the meat. So enjoy, Bri, is the moral of that story. And I will leave you all for the night. Thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you everyone who's going to watch this. Feel free to comment, message all the time. I will upload this to YouTube until I can get a grip on the situation. Love you all. See you tomorrow.